Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie, Texas, as we bring you the history of our city, some of the people that have been very important in making this history, some that are continuing to make history even this day, and we have visitors that are contributing to the history of Grand Prairie. We're very pleased on this magic day of December the 10th, 2007, to bring you our history tape number 609. And we are so pleased, and with your permission, we have a little terse verse to bring to you at this time. Beautiful, beautiful Texas, where the beautiful bluebonnets grow, we're proud of Lady Bird Johnson as well as our Alamo. And with that behind us, we know that you're going to be very, very excited because December the 23rd would have been the 95th birthday of Mrs. Lyndon Lady Bird Johnson. And we're bringing you this special tribute to her via the Keep Texas Beautiful Incorporated and Friends of Beautification. And this tribute is so exciting to us because we have on the dais today the Executive Director of Keep Texas Beautiful Incorporated for the second time. And we're just so pleased that she's back from Austin this morning. And Kathy Gale, welcome to the set, my dear.
Thank you, Ruthie. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on this special show.
And for Lady Bird, isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful.
Oh, that is really exciting.
Absolutely.
And to substantiate some of the things that we're going to be discussing today, we have Spencer Clemson, who is going to give us a story about a young man in his early years that met Lady Bird Johnson and some of the effects that that has had on his life. And Spencer Clemson, we're very delighted to have you, young man.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. All right. I guess we better go with the script now so that we'll know what we're getting our act together. What I believe you're going to be prepared to give us a little mini history of Keep Texas Beautiful, who celebrated their 40th anniversary just this last summer in San Antonio, Texas. So
that's correct.
You're front and center. So if you just look out into your camera and tell us about the real Keep Texas Beautiful, just the mini history that we need to have for this show.
Well, we weren't always Keep Texas Beautiful, as you know, Ruthie.
Yeah.
We started back in 1967 when Texas was preparing to get ready for the hemisphere that was coming to Texas in San Antonio. And many groups decided, many individuals formed a group really to decide to beautify Texas for the visitors that would be attending the hemisphere. So they got together from all walks of life and put together the Beautify Texas Council. We were joined with the Texas Department of Highways and all walks of life, individuals, companies, groups, communities, and they really made an impact on the beautification of Texas at that time. It was such a popular idea and such an effective group that it continued to grow and attract visitors to our beautiful state. Then in 1985, we officially became Keep Texas Beautiful. And at that time became one of the affiliates of Keep America Beautiful.
And I believe that was under the direction of Ebby Halliday Akers, who was our president at that time.
That's correct.
And we were in Houston, and wasn't that an exciting time?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Please continue.
And she and many others that were with that original group have continued to be involved in Keep Texas Beautiful and have made a huge difference throughout the state. We have many awards that honor these individuals and honor the communities in Texas for beautification, waste reduction, and litter prevention efforts.
Do you think that the fact that we had a first lady serving the United States of America under her husband's direction had any influence on Keep Texas Beautiful?
That's an excellent point. Yes, I think Lady Bird Johnson, as her efforts to beautify America and work with Keep America Beautiful, and then certainly her support of the state of Texas had a huge impact, and that is why she is so important and has been all these years to our efforts.
That's wonderful. Well, with that mini history of Keep Texas Beautiful and the Beautify Texas Council, we would have to salute O.P. Schnabel, who was our founder, and I think that that was an exciting thing because he went to Switzerland and saw that Switzerland was cleaner than we are in Texas at least, and he really got us to work.
Yes, yes, he was a wonderful inspiration, and is still talked about, as you know, the stories about how he would clean up litter and
Yes.
take it upon himself to do so much to drive these efforts throughout the state.
When I was the first woman president of Keep Texas Beautiful, he invited me to San Antonio, met me at the airport. I had a red carpet
Oh my gosh.
and flowers, put me in his Cadillac to drive me to the site where I was to make a speech, and he stopped in the middle of the freeway to pick up litter. And I was horrified. I just knew we were all going to be killed in San Antonio and it would make the headline. But he was adamant about picking up litter. He was serious. That was serious business. Well, after we had the mini history of Keep Texas Beautiful, Spencer and I would like to join you in this situation and bring you a little bit, I guess, a little more depth, because Lady Bird Johnson didn't do too much to give us orders or anything. She just watched what we were doing and encouraged us along. But she had her own awards for the district engineers of the Texas Department of Highways and Transportation. And it was so exciting because she began this, I believe, in around 1970, even before I came on board. And at that time, Beautify Texas Council was in force, and being their first woman president. The president, I got to go to Washington, D.C. and New York City to accept awards for Beautify Texas Council. And one time when I was there, I was really, really surprised because Mr. Schnabel had nominated me for the Mrs. L.B.J. Johnson Award of Keep America Beautiful, and I didn't know it. And when I accepted something for Texas, they also gave me this honor, and I almost had to come home as a cripple because I almost fell out of my chair at that time. But it was a very, very exciting thing, and being the first woman in Texas to ever get the Lady Bird Award, she decided that I would be so honored to come to her awards for her engineers, for the TDOT engineers, the district engineers. And so I received invitations for about 12 or 15 years from her, and during the time I've been with Keep Texas Beautiful, I would go to these awards, and it was at the ranch, and it was so exciting. And I did take a bunch of boys and girls from our television show at Store Cable TV, and they got to interview Lady Bird and Liz Carpenter and a lot of other very important people that were there. And of that group, John Doty was one of the students at South Grand Prairie High School. And when we got back from that, after he had interviewed Lady Bird and gotten his tape done, he said, "I think I'm going to make a career of that." And do you know, he's a very important owner of a television production company in the Metroplex, because the South Grand Prairie High School media class got their opportunity. Well, that was just one of the students that we took there. Then I have on the set today one of the other students that was invited to come to the Lady Bird Johnson Awards for the Highway Department engineers. And I invited Spencer Clemson and Leslie Crabtree, Leslie Crabtree was a very wonderful environmentalist as a young person. And Spencer was kind of just on the edge. He knew that his grandmother was always into Keep Texas Beautiful and Keep America Beautiful and all this. So I invited him to come along, and he was sort of the companion to come along with Leslie. And Spencer Clemson, how old were you, young man, when you were invited to go to meet Lady Bird and to attend those awards?
Well, I believe I was just right around 10 years old.
And what school were you attending?
I believe I was a 5th grader at Eisenhower Elementary.
5th grader at Eisenhower Elementary. And from Eisenhower, you went on to
Adams
Middle School.
Yes, ma'am, and then Grand Prairie High.
And then Grand Prairie High School, and then all of these other places you've gone to college. So I'd like for you to look out into your camera and do me a wonderful tribute to Lady Bird Johnson, what it meant to you to get to go to her and meet her personally and see the awards, and watch the faces of the highway engineer that got the first place award. Would you do me something like that, please?
Well, I'll do my best.
Tell me a story about your trip.
Well, just as a young kid, I've heard of Lady Bird Johnson, but really never knew exactly who she was. So I thought it was pretty neat going down there because I really wasn't sure what to expect. And once we got there, seeing the ranch out there was just amazing, and all the people were there, and it was like a big party. They had cabrito, which was a barbecued goat, and that was the first time I've ever seen anything like. I had no idea people ate goat. And
Yes.
they had free Dr. Peppers out, and I was real impressed with that as a kid because I wasn't allowed to drink Dr. Pepper, so I was able to load up while you were interviewing everybody. I was sneaking away drinking Dr. Pepper.
And when you got back, did you make a report to your mother?
I tried to leave that part out.
You left that part out completely.
It must have forgot.
Yes, and then after you had finished the awards ceremony and we left the ranch, didn't you get to go to the old home place of Lyndon B. Johnson?
We got to see that, and I thought that was really neat. That I figured a guy must be really important if he's a president and has a little museum at his ranch and everything like that.
Yes.
So it was just very impressive for a young kid to see, and left an impression on me, and kind of a base of kind of keeping Texas beautiful, throughout my life.
Yes, that's wonderful. Now, I believe you have a nephew that lives in Midlothian. I think you told me a story the other day about him, and if we're passing this on down into the proper genes, tell me about Luke Allison.
I guess I need to get immunity for telling this story on television, but
Yes.
My nephew was picked up from school by his father, and he's a really energetic little boy, as you know, and they asked him how was school, and he said he was hungry, and they asked him what he ate, and he said, well, I ate chips for lunch. And they said, well, why don't you finish the rest of your lunch, eat your sandwich? Well, Luke, being a little kid that he is, wanted to start off with his dessert, and his dad really didn't agree with that too much, and after some back and forth, he grabbed the dessert and ended the argument by throwing it out of the window of the car. And when Luke got to see his mother asked him how school was, and he says, well, everything was fine except for when my daddy grabbed my dessert, crumpled it up, and threw it out the window, littering on the state of Texas.
So we passed it on, even to our great-grandchildren. They know about Keep Texas Beautiful. Spencer, thank you very much for your input to this, and thank you for helping us document the wonderful highway awards that Lady Bird Johnson really had a wonderful happening, and they finally moved the awards to Houston, and I lost track of it at that time because they didn't allow me to go to Houston. So I want to thank y'all both very much for being here. You're going to get to stay on the set because we're going to do another interview. Spencer, thank you so much for
Thank you
helping
for
us
having me.
document this thing, and a special tribute to Lady Bird Johnson, who has affected more lives than even she would ever have known. And we'll be right back with the rest of our history show.
Hey, this is Owen Wilson.
This is Erica Badu.
I'm Janine Turner.
This is Julius Jones.
This is Lance Armstrong.
This is Leanne Womack.
We're Lost Lonely Boys.
This is Chuck Norris.
This is Jennifer Love Hewitt reminding you.
Don't mess with Texas.
We're back, and thank you for staying with us for this wonderful historic happening about Keep Texas Beautiful, and a salute to a very, very special person, Mrs. Lyndon Lady Bird Johnson. And we're just so pleased to continue that. And on board, we have continued to have Kathy Gale with us, the Executive Director of Keep Texas Beautiful. Glad you stayed, Miss Kathy.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being here. And we've added Georgia Clemson. Miss Georgia Clemson, we're so pleased to have you here. And since you relate to some of the things that we're talking about in Keep Texas Beautiful, and you're a genuine member of Keep Texas Beautiful, and hopefully you're going to work on the youth chairmanship committee, and not as the chairman, but as a member of the committee. If you'll just get with it and get things done for Keep Texas Beautiful, you'll make your mother very happy.
Oh, of course, and that is my job, right?
That is your job. You're elected. Now, Miss Georgia,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
wanted to continue in the pathway of this salute to Lady Bird because I believe you and Dan Clemson, your wonderful husband, that had always helped me through doing television for Store Cable TV. You all took cameras from the studio and decided you would go to the Lady Bird's Highway Awards.
Actually, down at the ranch, it was very impressive. I think the most impressive thing was the gracious hostess that she was to us.
Wasn't
we
she
were
good?
we were just little Grand Prairie peons.
Yes.
Actually, and she treated us royally.
Yes,
She was such a gracious hostess, and
She got into the mix of everything.
she did.
Yes.
And she made us feel very comfortable and at home, and she always had a winning smile for everyone. Such a wonderful experience. And the fact that this was a passion for her.
Yeah.
It wasn't just another event for her to attend and for her to represent her husband. This was her own baby.
Yes.
And it was a passion for her, and that came through loud and clear to all who visited. She made us feel very special, and she made the point that so many people are jumping on the green bandwagon now, but she was on there long before any of us, and she's made such a tremendous impact on not only individuals but the state of Texas and the United States.
I just think that it was a real wonderful happening, and I got to take your picture with Lady Bird, and I have that in
Yes.
our archives, and
Yes.
some of
Just the fact that you've met a first lady is quite an
Yeah.
honor.
yes,
It's quite an honor, and that she was your hostess.
yes.
That was very nice.
And wasn't the ceremony when the winning engineer, district engineer from the highway department, would get up and get their award? She made it a big deal of the day, and I mean they had all the important highway people there, the highway commission chair and all of these, and it just impressed. It was so impressive each and every time I attended this. I just got a subcharge of let's keep our highways beautiful and clean, and et cetera.
Yes, and you could tell she had really a deep love and affection for these people, and as well as they did for her.
Yes. Now, Kathy, in your role as the executive director of Keep Texas Beautiful, you did not have an opportunity to work with Lady Bird personally, but don't you think that she had a great impact on how we did things, and the fact that we had an edge when we had a first lady in Washington,
Yes.
D.C. that were backing us up, even though she had nothing to do really with the administration of our business?
That's correct. As Georgia said, it was a passion of hers. So it really permeated the state of Texas and caught on like wildfire. I mean, I think it added a lot to the momentum of Keep Texas Beautiful and Beautify Texas Council earlier.
Yes.
As you know, this year's ornament is dedicated to her. And
Now, tell me about what is an ornament?
well, we do Christmas ornaments each year.
The
and
Keep Texas Beautiful has
That's
an
right.
ornament program.
that's right.
Okay.
And Nelda Laney, who did the Capitol ornaments, designs those ornaments for us. And this is the 4th year. And
She got number 4.
year and for the 40th anniversary.
Did she know in advance that that was to be dedicated
She
to her?
did, and she saw the mock-up of the ornament.
Oh, she did.
She was very pleased. She saw the information that's in the insert on the ornament that talks about honoring her and her beautification efforts in Texas, and so she was very pleased. Very
I'm
pleased
so
by
glad
it.
that
And of course,
knew that.
the ornament sold like crazy at the conference, and people would talk about how important it was to them because it was honoring her.
honoring
So
her especially.
It has sold throughout the state like that because they like thinking about Lady Bird Johnson in that way of beautifying Texas with this beautiful ornament with wildflowers on it.
Well, the fact that she lent her name to Keep America Beautiful to make this award,
That's right.
I thought that was exceptional too, because well, they are America, and they couldn't pick a better person that's typical of their causes in Keep America Beautiful.
That's right.
And and everyone that gets one of these is so honored. And we have a wonderful list of people that are ladybirds, and maybe we'll talk about that when we have a ladybird section one of these days. That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank you all for that, and with your permission, I wanted to mention a couple of other things that when Lady Bird helped me when I was president of Keep Texas Beautiful and all of these other things, and at that time I have about 3 things that I salute Lady Bird Johnson, because she was just the most wonderful person in keeping our nation clean and beautiful that I had ever expected to meet, and then to get to meet her personally. And I have a couple of 3 wonderful, wonderful photographs that she sent to me. I have a picture of Lady Bird, and at the bottom of that there's a beautiful little message from her, and she signed it. And then later on, a little bit later on, she sent me a picture of she and Mr. Johnson and their dog. And she put a little note on that and signed it. So, and on the programs when I would go to the Highway Awards, she would always sign my program, and at that time would be very exciting because on one of them she put, "Oh, you're back again." So she realized that I was making several trips to the Highway Awards, and I invited her to speak at the first Arbor Day ceremony I held, and she wrote me back and said, "I don't want to speak, but I said I'm coming to the Arbor Day, but said I want to sit up in the crowd and just watch and see how things go." And another time, the Forest Service at A&M, she allowed us to do 254 little seedlings from the ranch to give to all of the county judges, the 254 county judges in the state of Texas, and one huge tree of a live oak, and move it to the LBJ library, and she gave us permission to do that. And there were just so many things that that happened that she made my life so exciting just by giving permission to do lots of things. And I want to thank y'all for being here today and helping us with this history. And is there anything else you would like to tell us?
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
allowing me to be a part of this.
Thank you.
Salute.
Very much appreciate it.
And just remember that history is as we live and do, and that we document it correctly. And thank you for being here.